How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Secret Spaces. This is a weekly Twitter space featuring builders and news from around the Secret and Cosmos ecosystems. This week we have a very exciting guest. We have the Andromeda team. The Andromeda team is building AOS. If you haven't heard about that, it is the operating system for Web3. And we're going to be talking about how we're going to be integrating Secret with AOS and what that's going to mean for builders on Secret Network and builders across the IBC ecosystem. Super exciting stuff. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll start with some introductions. Starting off, let's go with Mark from the Andromeda team.
Hello, everybody. Excited to be here today. Thank you for the introduction, Patrick. Quick introduction. My background and my career can be summed up pretty quickly. I spent the first half of it in traditional finance as a certified financial planner. And the second half I spent in global trade risk management, managing finance and supply chain risk, around the world. Till most recently, I spent the last 5 years in the blockchain and tech side, and am currently in the role of ecosystem development with the Andromeda team.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark. Let's hand it over to Mant from Andromeda.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. We're pretty excited about this relationship with Secret. My background is heavy technology, all of my career, and really taking that technology as an operator and creating value with it, finding product to market fit with really advanced technology. My business expertise has been really in the startup co-founder role, advising CEOs in business model innovation in the digital age, and most recently commercial real estate CEO that had AI and IoT in the tech stack and needed blockchain and crypto. And once I discovered the rabbit hole, went down and got involved with this. Have started a couple of blockchain crypto companies, advised several blockchain crypto companies waiting on this new layer of technology, the Rust Cosm Wasm tech stack. And with that, with my co-founders, started this Andromeda journey, and excited to be here and really excited about what we have to offer.
Awesome. Thanks, Mant. And we also have Erdeman, DevRel for Secret. Erdeman, you want to give yourself an introduction, or nah? I think everybody knows you.
I guess that was the introduction. Hello, everyone. I'm Erdeman, and I've been with Secret for 2 years, and I'm the DevRel for Secret.
All right. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So what is Andromeda? You want to just give us a brief history of the project and kind of what the vision is?
Sure. The co-founders all got together because we were all having the same problem in the blockchain space, and is that technology just wasn't good enough using Ethereum. It was too hard to build, took too long, too expensive, too little expertise. So they were too far in between expertise levels. And we were trying to find a better technology and a better solution to make things much simpler and faster. One of our co-founders was a senior exec for Panini, a collectibles company, and he was charged with creating a digital collectible, an NFT standard for some major brands, NFT, NFL, FIFA, World Cup, and others, and couldn't satisfy it with the Ethereum tech stack. So I tried to start a company with another one of our co-founders in 2017-18, trying to fractionalize Michelangelo bronze original sculptures, flat art, and some land, and the new ERC 721 standard that Cody Marks Bailey helped co-develop wasn't good enough. So he went and searched for better tech. I went back to commercial real estate. Brendan stayed in his corporate job, frustrated at 4 years of frustration, trying to work with Solidity to solve real-world business problems. And when Cody found the Rust Cosm Wasm, we got together with the team and started building this operating system, which it really didn't start out as an operating system. It just started out to try and make building easier, better, and faster. And it turned into the operating system. So that's really the history of Andromeda, and we're getting great success not only inside the Cosmos ecosystem with chains like a Secret network, but also outside the ecosystem that are tremendously focused on real-world business, real-world assets, and we're really excited to bring this operating system to the market.
Nice. So I remember hearing about this probably at least a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, probably around the height of Terra. Was this like a Terra project originally? Was it somehow related? Or
So
am I misremembering that?
yeah, it was, and the first time that we ran into Carter in a hallway in a hotel, September of 21, was right before TFI Alpha in New York City when Doe made the big appearance there, and it was a pretty big event. This started with a personal grant from Doe. And he liked it so well, he recommended it from our proof of concept that we go to the Terra DAO for a grant, and they give us a grant, sizable grant when Luna was back at the $5 mark. So our timing was good. So we did a lot of building as Luna went up. But yeah, it started as we were going to launch on Terra first. But when Terra had the event, we expanded that to the Cosmos ecosystem, and it's been the best thing that ever happened to us because this is really a large project, very aggressive, probably the largest project in crypto right now. And if you think of what Andromeda does, it brings the ability for L1s in the cosmos and outside of the cosmos, the ability to compose. So if you think of this new concept of composability as a service, that's a real quick capture of what Andromeda does. It gives everyone on any chain the ability to compose across chain and bring the best of all the L1s into a composition, whether it's an ADO or an app.
Okay, so it's definitely a IBC based project, would you say?
Yeah, IBC, and we're going to use the new XLR GPT piece and any other cross-chain communication networks. We'll incorporate that into the operating system, so that a real value proposition is to offer chains this composability option and a faster movement to critical mass and network effects, which is what's getting a lot of attention outside of the ecosystem. Is they're seeing Andromeda's operating system as their gateway entry into this multi-chain future in the cosmos.
That's awesome. Yeah, Secret is all about that. There's a whole lot of synergy between our project and Andromeda, I think, because, we have privacy as a service is one of our focuses right now, and that's all about bringing Secret's private computation to other chains, both within the IBC ecosystem and even outside of the IBC ecosystem through cross-chain protocols, like you said, through Axelar GMP. So definitely a lot of synergy. This is definitely something that we want to get on board with, and yeah, excited to be a part of it. Um, let's go ahead and talk about like what stage of development is the project in right now? What can people do with Andromeda today?
Yeah, so we launched on testnet with our chain in February, and we launched our Andromeda operating system a couple of weeks back, and we had a closed testnet, which the uniqueness of our project is multifaceted. One of them is incentivized testnet has been done by our investors. We're the first crypto project since the invention of crypto where investors are doing our testnet. They're incentivizing our testnet, so we're pretty proud of that. The other piece is we've done a closed testnet in phases, bringing in the top developers to come and take a look at this operating system before we unleash it to the larger community. And we're just finishing up those closed testnet evaluations and feedbacks and updates before we open it up to the entire community to come in. And we're really excited about that because now, finally, this large operating system is going to be available to anyone that wants to come in and learn about it.
Okay, so basically on testnet right now.
That's right, testnet, and we're looking for another version, more towards a mainnet beta, mainnet kind of a launch in August, and that'll be on 6 chains at least. So now we'll have cross-chain composability across 6 chains.
Nice. So on release, you're going to have several chains already available to
That's
make
right.
use of. Okay, cool. So after that, I guess let's just talk about your general roadmap for maybe like the next year. So once you launch, you have those 6 chains integrated. What's the next step after that?
Yeah, so thanks for that. So we're going to get to a TGE soon. Then the mainnet launch with the 6 chains, and we're going to get to as many chains as possible in the rest of 23. So Could be 9, could be 12 chains. It depends on demand and our capacity to do chain integration. Towards the end of the year, in the October timeframe, we've been asked to speak at the largest business conference there is in the United States, bringing in the largest names, still under NDA. That I can't say who the names are, but everyone knows them because they are global powerhouses. Where we're going to introduce this operating system not only to the Cosmos ecosystem to the business world, but also other ecosystems that we're going to integrate with. And in that way, we're going to introduce real world assets and real world business, their ability to compose as well. So in 24, in addition to integrating with additional chains, we'll be now doing real world assets and real world business with larger ecosystems that than currently exist, quite frankly, anywhere else. There's only one place where they exist, and without disclosing the name of them, it's going to be revolutionary, and I rarely use that word as I'm an evolutionary kind of guy in terms of business and technology advancement. But this will be a big leap ahead if you think of it as an evolutionary leap ahead. Being able to integrate ecosystems that have 9 million wallets, so it's a large transition to a large ecosystem. Sovereign wealth funds, sovereign entities with stable coins, and large business organizations very interested in what's going on now. And one of the draws, back to Secret, is this privacy as a service, being able to offer privacy as a service, whereas no other ecosystem can. This will be critical to the future of not only Andromeda, but to Secret as well.
Exciting stuff, yeah. So let's go ahead and get into that then. What kind of integrations are currently in the works for Secret Network and Andromeda? Obviously, we've said privacy as a service is a huge opportunity here. We also have a couple of products that have already been released under privacy as a service, like Secret VRF, which is a private random number generator for the IBC ecosystem. Erdeman, if you want to, feel free to jump in here, and I guess we can just get started anywhere. Like, what's being planned right now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think the cool thing about Andromeda and AOS, and especially the ADOs, is that it lowers development complexity in many ways, and I think something that has held back in general interchain or multi-chain applications is really the development complexity and integration with so many different languages or so many different chains, which is just very complicated basically for application developers, and it takes away attention from them to actually serving to users. So Andromeda is solving that, and with that, it makes it basically possible for any of the integrated chains to more and more easily integrate with Secret privacy as a service applications as well. And the boundaries of privacy as a service applications are really quite limitless, I would say. They're like multiple design paths, which we have written out, but at least ourselves or in close collaboration with Andromeda, we're going to work on a few startup use cases to have people better understand, I guess, how privacy as a service works and what they can do with it, and sort of sketch the landscape that it is. So like you said, I think the first and most easy example for people to start working with, which has a very big use case and a very big market, only looking at chainlink VRF or band and how many applications need randomness. It's going to be Secret VRF, meaning that if you go to the Andromeda ADO objects documentation page, you'll soon be able to, complete a dice roll within your app or pick a random item, and all of that will be done by the Secret VRF function, basically behind the AOS you're actually using. And then later on, I think there's going to be a lot of other use cases that will be possible quite quickly, and maybe we'll set up some bounties to do those, which include like private voting for any DAO and in any of the Andromeda integrated ecosystems. You can think of sealed auctions or sealed DeFi use cases like private liquidation or sealed bid auctions or gamified auction mechanisms for maybe NFT marketplaces or other even reward applications, reward marketplaces that are going to come from the partnership Andromeda also just talked about. So yeah, those are probably going to be some of the first use cases and I guess example applications for people to start using. But after that, with some of the presentations that Guy, the founder of Secret, has been giving about around NPC wallets, walletless experiences, and many other sort of privacy as a service use cases. I think Secret ties in very nicely with Andromeda, with not only lowering the development complexity for many DApps, but hopefully over time also lowering the onboarding requirements for users, and really bringing Web3 and all of these well-established and developed products to a wider market.
Erdeman, I think you hit on a great point right there about lowering the barrier to entry being one of the big features that that composability offers. I think that it's the general consensus right now around the community for those that have been involved that monolithic architecture just weighs down your technical stack and slows down the digital experience for people. Coming out of the people that I spoke with that have attended the ECC conference in Paris, the theme there, the thing that they came away with is that the next evolution of the app chain thesis is actually the cooperative chain thesis, being referred to, ecosystem chains. And that is really what, the vision behind the Cosmos originally. And AOS has the opportunity to kickstart that, make it easier, better, and faster for people to get into the system, work with one another, and I'm really glad to have Secret. Everyone at the genesis of the whole movement, has privacy on their mind, and to be able to expand the reach and the services behind the Secret chain and the privacy as a service and the randomizer and the other great projects, to be able to add them as one of our early partners is a big statement, and really glad to have you guys helping us kick that off and to get this movement going.
Yeah, I really think this can act as a catalyst for development, both on Secret and within the IBC ecosystem. We're always looking for ways to ease the barrier of entry for developers on our network. Erdeman, I don't know if you want to speak to that, maybe just the way that we've been trying to improve documentation and tooling and all of that stuff. And I feel like Andromeda really fits into that.
The funny thing is I've been cooperating with different protocols around the Cosmos to not only improve documentation around IBC usage or Cosmos contracts, or just general understanding of the Cosmos smart contract tech stack, but also sort of piggyback off each other's work and understand, okay, where are the biggest gaps. And when I spoke to Cody, maybe I think it's already 7 or 8 months ago for the first time, I think one thing I said and one thing he said at basically the same time is that if there's one thing missing in Cosmos, it's people understanding WASM contracts. Like, we have had this interoperable ecosystem for more than 2 years already, but there are sadly very, very few applications who are actually completely able to leverage this interoperable contracts. And Andromeda is, in my opinion, changing the game there, not only with supplying this operating ecosystem, which simplifies all of these interchain interactions by basically simplifying the architecture and making it more modular between chains, but or more composable, I guess, depending on which name you want to use. But it's also looking at the documentation, and anyone who can go to the Andromeda documentation today will see that there is I think it's a list of like 15 to 20 ADOs, which are already completely written out. And then I heard, at least from the team, that the entire documentation around the AOS operating system in a more IBC ecosystem basically is coming very soon as well, with the launch of that on testnet. And simultaneously, at Secret, we've been making the first IBC WASM guide that exists outside of the IBC, outside of like the core IBC Go repo. So, and I think another chain that's doing that is Archway, which is also integrating with Andromeda. So it's clear that some of the big players in improving IBC documentation and experience for developers to start building with this insanely powerful primitive, which is sadly a little bit underused, this is really coming from many of the teams that are directly integrating or working with Andromeda. So yeah, that's just really cool to me. It's seeing that collaboration move forward further than just an integration. It's about pushing this narrative together and finding developers to match that as well. So I think that's actually very, very promising to see. the documentation is increasingly getting better over the entire ecosystem.
Absolutely. I mean, when it comes for solving, the trilemma, the Cosmos model has won. I mean, it really has. It allows for sovereignty while also providing, composability and compounding scalability at the same time. And getting this kickstarted is something we've been excited, for a long time. Bringing providing the framework, to bring the cosmos together, and even other ecosystems, um, to allow them in a cooperative manner, is something that we've been building for 26 months, and we're finally able to get this out and get it started. And this is only the beginning, and happy to be getting it kickstarted with Secret. Secret being able to lay some of the base layers and build some smart contracts on top of the ADOs are something that AOS users are going to be able to see and utilize in perpetuity moving forward. And they'll be able to gain value from that, and it will only increase and compound the scale and the speed at which people are able to build.
So I think all of you guys up here are pretty technical, and I think we've described what AOS is pretty well. But if there's somebody who's not really a developer at all, you're not familiar with developing, and you just want to understand like what this is going to look like from a visual perspective, I guess, could one of you Andromeda guys just give like, so in my mind it's an operating system. It's like, it's like Windows operating system. It's a visual interface that allows you to develop applications, and it's going to have options for you to like scroll through. Like, you want to use this chain, you click on that. You want to use this kind of smart contract, you just click on that. Is that the basic idea? It's kind of like super easy development, point and click. I mean, obviously there's going to be more than that involved afterwards, but it's the way you get started is basically like that.
Yeah, the idea here is that whatever your level of developer skill is, that you'll be able to come to this and either click and drag and build things off of pre-existing ADOs into an app, cross-compose across different L1s that we're integrated with, and that's through placing our Andromeda logic library on the chain. So all the hard stuff will be transparent to the user. So a Web 2 person could come in very quickly and build something, or a really extremely high-level elite Web 3 builder can come in and abstract something that they've already built on our CLI page, which is a tremendous CLI product. And now you can use any level of skill. And the analogy here is, I used to be an F-18 pilot, and we would take our newest F-18 pilots down to the most experienced F-14, F-15 pilots, and because of the advantages of how superior the technology of the airplane flew, a very junior pilot could beat a very experienced pilot very quickly. And it was because of the advantage of user-friendly, the interface that we're talking about. So that's the idea here with Andromeda is, regardless of the skill set level, you're going to be able to do things easier and faster. And because of this cross-chain composability, starting with Secret, having a new capability to compose new solutions really takes people out of the L1 mindset of what is possible in their chain, and now able to learn the advantages or the value props of the other L1s and compose those into solutions, which, as you start to talk about more than just the cosmos or more than any one ecosystem, what is happening out in the real world is they need that ability to compose unique solutions. Privacy, definitely a primary concern. Privacy and security, primary concern. That's why this partnership is so important. But then whether it's transaction rates or liquidity or any other the L1 expertise level, you're able to compose those into a Lego set that satisfies a need. And the real interesting piece here is what I just said, 2 years ago was not possible in the way that it is today. And what I mean by that is the Panini example with Brendan, one of our co-founders. He struggled for 4 years to try and solve what we can now do in 5 minutes with our operating system. It's that easy. The leverage here, I've had VCs tell me that once this thing gets up and operated, they may require all of their portfolio companies to use Andromeda because the time to market, the product, time to market fit will change the game. Instead of being months, they'll be able to do product market fit in a month. Some projects take 6-9 months, maybe longer, to build. VCs need to see some action, need to see some product splash in much quicker time, and this gives them an advantage to be able to build much faster. Innovation pivots, try new things. From the business leaders that I talk to, see the advantage of being able to use a Web3 operating system like this with a privacy capability like Secret. And instead of it taking a year for a corporation to try something new, a year and maybe $1 million or two and 20 people's worth of innovation work, they can do that in a week or so. And now they've got, instead of one solution after a year, they've got 5 solutions in a week or a month. And the leverage there from a business standpoint or a project standpoint is absolutely extraordinary.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is super powerful. Going back to which chains are able to connect to this, I guess I had a question about that. Obviously, any IBC chain with CosmWasm can be added into the AOS operating system pretty easily. Is that also the case for any EVM operating system, or what are the limits here?
Yeah, so the easiest for us is Rust CosmWasm. That makes sense. The next easiest for that cross-chain composability is if they have IBC integrated, whether it's hooks or something else, or maybe this new Axelar GMP. The omni-chain capability, like an Axelar, to get to other EVM-based chains, you can't do the same smart contract logic because it's just not possible on anything but CosmWasm Rust. That unique functionality, but you can move tokens through omni chains like Axelar over to other ecosystems. The plan has been all along that Andromeda creates an ecosystem, and we will take this operating capability, this operating system capability, over to other chains, whether it's Go or other move. And that integration is merely a function of bear market money and devs, and the ability to build software that bridge over into other ecosystems. So this will be much larger than just the Cosmos ecosystem. So the privacy secret aspect already is desirable in other ecosystems that I'm talking with. So we're really excited to get this thing started.
For sure. And as IBC expands too, I know we're already seeing a potential connection from IBC, from the Cosmos ecosystem to the Polkadot ecosystem via IBC. And that may allow not just tokens to be swapped back and forth, but it may also allow smart contracts on either side to interact with each other, which may be able to also be integrated into AOS later down the road. Might be a little bit early to be saying that, but I think it's definitely a possibility.
I've been telling our tech co-founders for a long time that technology is much like water. I've been involved with some pretty high-level technology for a long time, and what was not possible at the beginning of my career as an F-18 pilot became possible 10, 15 years later. So this journey isn't over. It's just not that EVM isn't good enough or this isn't good enough, or the technology. If there's a need, technology will find a way, and the bridges will come or the integrations will come. This is just the very beginning, and this especially, this secret relationship is extremely important because it is so unique anywhere else in any crypto ecosystem. So this could be the beginning of something. We certainly think beginning of something big and exciting.
For sure, man. So I think we're aiming for September for a testnet launch for Secret integration. Is that right?
Yes, that sounds great.
And what are Secret developers going to be able to do once that integration is available on testnet? So you want them to start building on AOS right away? How do you envision that going?
Yeah, so the real simple answer isn't a tech one. Eventually it will evolve into a tech answer, but now whatever secret developers are doing that are solving a need, whether it's a DeFi, NFT, or real world asset, or a business need, a workflow business need, they can build an ADO, an Andromeda Digital Object. And here's the really key part to us. Archway talks a little bit about this. We've been talking about this since the April Fool's Day of 21. Is that we want to change the game for developers to be incentivized to build. So, Secret developers can build Andromeda digital objects very quickly, very easily, because we bring a completely new developer framework on top of the operating system. So it's not just the operating system, there's a new developer framework to build faster and much easier. And that way they can build very quickly to solve problems, either for the secret network or for integrations with other projects that they're trying to bring secret capabilities to, and they can do that very quickly. So the short answer is they're going to be able to build Andromeda digital objects to solve problems, and selling those on the Andromeda App Store, or use of those, that developer is incentivized every time that ADO or the app that they build is used. So there's developer incentives for the long term, and we'll probably put those on a bonding curve so that they get paid back sooner, and then a long tail that tails off eventually into public infrastructure.
No, that's something that I hadn't heard about. That's pretty cool. So there's going to be an app store where developers can upload their ADOs and actually sell them.
Absolutely, and part of this, and I'm glad we went here, is that we want to incentivize the community to come and build. We don't have all the answers. We're just trying to create the tools for other people that are smarter than us. I believe for a long time that some of the best answers are not internal to an organization. I made a pretty significant career out of building global networks and finding expertise external to some pretty significant organizations in my previous career. And the idea is to get community to come and build and be incentivized to do so, to build either a secret ADO or any kind of ADO to solve a problem, put it on the App Store, sell it, and be incentivized to do that so that there's a large community emphasis for building and be incentivized to build unique objects. And then, there's market forces there. If you just build something nobody uses, you don't get incentivized. But if you build something that's very useful, you can make a career out of that.
Absolutely. That's what I was referring to earlier about how Secret being one of the early adopters and getting into the AOS ecosystem. Their developers and their builders that are getting in there are going to be on the ground floor of getting their ADOs into our library and having visibility to all AOS users that come in the future, giving them a revenue opportunity, like I said, in perpetuity. So very excited to have uh, Secret with their capabilities that is needed everywhere in on the ground floor, uh, where all future AOS users will have access to.
And the idea here is that you come to the Andromeda operating system from anywhere in Web 3, Web 2 eventually, which is was an interesting phone call this morning, that this large ecosystem saw us as the logical entry point for Web 2 developers to come in and be able to build very quickly and understand Web 3 without having become a rabbit hole ninja. They can come in and actually be functional much quicker than having to learn it the hard way. But the idea is you could come to this, our dashboard, our website, and everything you need to build and get started, either as a developer or as a project, is right there and available to you. For example, I see Mikhail here on the call with us. We'll have Certic as a partner, an auditing partner on the website. We'll have other auditing partners as well that are all agreeing to give auditing discounts to people that build. So to get integrated into our Andromeda logic library, you'll need to be audited, which makes common sense. But then you'll have auditing partners with incentives to use that auditing partner of your choice. So there'll be more than one to get better auditing costs to get integrated with their library, and then become economically incentivized for that ADO or that app to be used. And here's an example of what we're talking about. There are splitter ADOs, and there are crowd sourcing ADOs as one of our use cases, but it could be something unique to Secret. That would be an ADO that would get audited very quickly by one of our great auditing partners and get into our Andromeda Logic library and start making money for that developer right away. It's really exciting. It's a new business model. It's a business model innovation with a great product, which is it takes business model innovation and a great product to be able to actually change an industry, and we think we've got it here with our partners that are joining us.
It's awesome. Yeah. I mean, developers, they got to get paid. They can't just work for free all the time. And a lot of times within, the IBC ecosystem, it's a huge ecosystem. There's a lot of different chains. but I think it's probably sometimes hard for developers to bring their product to market across the entire ecosystem. A lot of times that requires you going from chain to chain to chain and putting up like a funding proposal, maybe from on-chain governance or from some kind of grant that's being given by the core team. And that takes a lot of time, and a lot of times it doesn't work out. So I think this will be a great alternative for developers that are looking to bring their product to the entire IB ecosystem and actually, get paid for their work and be able to make a living.
Yeah, I can't overemphasize the word you just used, time. Since the beginning, time to market, easier, better, faster has been our bumper sticker. Faster is the key. I'm an F-18 pilot, and I was a talk instructor too. And we used to walk the halls and talk to our students about it all the time, about speed is life. Well, you've heard it in business. Time is money. You know, time kills all deals. Certainly, Web3 was really born of the Field of Dreams process, where it took so long to build something, hoping they would come. Well, now you have the opportunity with an AOS that is this kind of speed change that brings something to market much faster. And from a developer standpoint, developer can get paid sooner and get paid often. If they're a talented developer that's in tune with business and business needs, they can create a bunch of ADOs very quickly and get them for sale and start making some money, which, in the end, it's not about the money. It's all about the money.
For sure. Is there anything else that we haven't already covered that you guys would like to talk about, Andromeda?
Maybe I can quickly hop in and contribute as well to the whole time and revenue conversation, because what I think hasn't been touched on is that there are many different types of developers as well, right? Where it is, some just want to develop cool standards or cool things or tools other people can use, but nowadays it's notoriously hard to get funding for, like you already said, Patrick. But applications like Andromeda really changed that in a way where you can now build a standard which maybe interacts on top of IBC to do any kind of thing, basically. I guess you could use the random number as an example. And now suddenly this is not, it's not an entire product you have to build a brand around or anything. You can just develop it on your own, publish it, and ask a small fee, and you build revenue for yourself into perpetuity. And you can still keep everything open source. And that has been a very big conversation within IBC, especially where we have had many developers who have created cool things, open source them merely for people to start using them, and hoping they would be able to either get grants or get a kickback somehow, but never being able to manage that. And then later on, actually close sourcing their contract or their code in order to find a different path to sustainability for it. And nowadays, even people launching standards which are closed source by default, just to make sure they can somehow get some revenue for it. So yeah, I think Andromeda is going to help there as well, where that developers and people who are more related to products can make products, and people who are more related to tools can make tools, and both will find a proper revenue split because of that, which I think is cool.
It's a great point, because we're at a stage of Web3 ecosystem development where some great people have done some great things to get this whole thing started. But as it matures, just what you're talking about, you really want to keep people that are good at developing focused on developing. Running a business is completely different than developing a software project. And for Web3 to make it to the next step, people that are good at business are going to have to come in and focus on building businesses, while developers focus on developing, which is, what we want anyway, right? So this gives, as you said, the opportunity for developers to continue, besides just getting paid for being part of a project or being part of a company. It helps them develop, maybe in their spare time, maybe as part of their project, the ability to get paid by building things that they like to do, solve problems as engineers. And the business people can then go out and find product to market fit. Or it's found on the App Store. I mean, we're going to do both. Be able to do that by having business people work as well as the App Store working and developers working as an ecosystem, a community, more like a Web3 community, where you have investors and developers and users and business people. That community now develops to the next stage, which, we hope this Andromeda operating system gives us the ability to think, community ecosystem wise, to really bring the value of what developers love to do by solving problems into a larger piece that is both business and development.
And I assume it would also be possible to upload an ADO and just put it on the App Store for free. Maybe if like a core development team of an IBC chain, for example, maybe they want to just put some stuff out there that's like the super essential stuff for their chain, and they just want to make that a public good. That would be an option too, I guess.
Absolutely. And get paid for it while you're doing it.
Nice. So if people want to follow what Andromeda is doing and they just want to like stay up to date in between now and the testnet launch in September-ish, what would you recommend?
Yeah, so AndromedaProtocol.io is our website. Andromeda Prot is our Twitter, and then we'll post our Telegram channels. Of course, we've got Discord as well. So please, come join us, come build with us, come explore, and definitely get involved with our testnet. We'll post those links for our testnet as well. We're excited to get the community's input. We want to hear from you. We know that you guys are smarter, certainly, than me about what needs to be built. You know about problems you're trying to solve right now, and we hope that the tools that we've created are going to help you do that. And if not, help us build new tools that make things better.
Awesome. Well, I think we'll probably go ahead and wrap things up here. We really appreciate you guys' time, Andromeda team, and we're super excited to working with you.
And we're excited to work with you as well. We really, really enjoy how excited you are. You clearly get what's going on with Andromeda, and we think this is going to be a great partnership. So thank you very much.
Yes, thanks to everyone, and watch out for Secret. They're coming to Andromeda first, and it's going to be a great partnership.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see everybody on next week's Secret Spaces at our usual time, Tuesday at 4 p.m. UTC. Until then, have a good one.